You may be wondering, why is Yugi called the king of games when he only ever plays one specific game? And sure, they throw in legendary heroes, dungeon dice monsters, and the dark RPG, and yeah, we do our best to forget capsule monsters ever happened, but in large part, it's one game that dominates the scene. Well, allow me to take you back to a simpler time when the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga was just starting out. In these first 59 chapters, Yugi and friends were indeed playing a variety of games as a means of overcoming their opponent for the week, hence the very name, Yu-Gi-Oh!, which translates to King of Games. One of those games was the Duel Monsters card game, and due to its popularity with readers, during the second act of the manga, which consists of Duelist Kingdom and Battle City, Takahashi made that the go-to battle system. But while the fate of the world was staked on card games, there were still a number of creative, interesting, and downright crazy games from the original manga where teenagers would, without a second thought, put their lives on the line to best their opponents. In this list, let's count down the top 10 most dangerous games from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! We're coming in hot to start the list at number 10, Fighting with a Knife Between Your Teeth. This game occurs when Joey chases down a bully who beat up Yugi for beating him in an arcade game and took his Millennium Puzzle. The bully challenges Joey to a fight with the condition that they fight while clenching a knife between their teeth. The bully himself intends to use a trick knife, but nice guy Joey that he is tells the bully to not do the knife thing because he doesn't want to hold back his punches. What we get is one of the coldest shots of the manga with Joey holding the knife between his teeth. Joey finds himself on his back foot, but remembers the soda he had for Yugi in his pocket, and with all the movement of the fight having shaken the can, he pops it open and splashes the bully. Joey then shoryukens him to a broken jaw, winning the fight and the Millennium Puzzle. Coming in at number 9, we have Scorpion in the Shoe. This is a game played between Dark Yugi and a scam artist shoe salesman who sells Haidam and shoes at a discount, then has his gang of goons beat up the customer and get the shoes back so he can rinse and repeat. After Joey falls victim to this scam, Dark Yugi appears to get the shoes back. The shoe salesman puts a scorpion in them, but Dark Yugi is the wiser and challenges the salesman to a game. He puts 10 coins into the shoe, then explains that they will take turns pulling out coins from the shoe, all the while trying to avoid getting stung by the scorpion. Whoever gets the most coins wins. Dark Yugi pulls out a coin, the shopkeep pulls out a coin. Dark Yugi pulls out another, and the shopkeep realizes he needs a plan, so he stabs the shoe with a dagger to kill the scorpion, then attempts to grab all the coins at once. But with his hand full, he is unable to pull his hand out, and sure enough, the scorpion is still alive, stinging the shopkeep and winning Dark Yugi the game. Coming in at number 8, Russian Roulette Dinner. This is a game played between Mokuba, Yugi, and Joey where they take turns spinning a wheel and have to eat the meal that lands in front of them. Little do the friends know, Mokuba has not only laced 2 meals with a lethal poison, but can also control when the wheel will stop. Joey falls victim to this scam, but Dark Yugi catches on and uses the Millennium Puzzle to smash the control, leading to the last poison meal to land on Mokuba. Fortunately, there is a backup antidote, but the randomness of this game makes it far more dangerous one than the previous poison entry. Coming in at number 7, we have the Falling Cubes, the third level of Death Tea. Death Tea is the lethal amusement park comprised of 5 levels Kaiba designed to kill Yugi out of revenge for Yugi defeating him in Duel Monsters and forcing him to undergo the experience of death penalty game. Needless to say that while they became rivals with benefits, their relationship didn't exactly start off the greatest. In this level, the friends must dodge giant cubes falling from the ceiling lest they be smushed to death. The cubes that have fallen serve as stepping stones for their friends to reach the exit, but without Teia's talent for reading rhythms, the gang wouldn't have been able to dance their way through the blocks. Well, for the most part. Tristan sure gets caught under one block toward the end, but don't worry, his super strength voice eventually frees him from the trap. Coming in at number 6, Griddle Ice Hockey. This is a game between Dark Yugi and an upperclassman who took the spot allotted to Teiya and the rest of the class for their carnival games. Dark Yugi challenges the upperclassman to a game where a test tube filled with explosives is enclosed in a block of ice. The players use rackets to slide it to each other, kind of like air hockey, but the catch is that they are playing this game on a grill. So once the ice melts, whoever is near the test tube is going to be hit by a massive explosion. This game actually has Dark Yugi concerned given how much power and speed the upperclassman can hit with. But Dark Yugi ends up using that to his advantage by making a crack in the ice, such that when the upperclassman hits it with that brute strength of his, the ice will crack. The plan works perfectly, and thus, the upperclassman is hit with the explosion. Now, given that Dark Yugi walks off with some words to the loser, it's possible the guy survived the blast, but this is still a pretty twisted way to get revenge on a school bully. Coming in at number 5, we have the game between Dark Yugi and the escaped convict at Burger World, with the simple rule that each player can only move one finger of their choice. Sounds pretty tame at first, but once you add a gun, a lighter, a cigarette, and some vodka, you get arson. The trick here is that the convict chooses his index finger, the one on the trigger of his gun, and Dark Yugi chooses the thumb he has ready to flick the lighter in his hand. The convict, thinking he has the game won, asks Dark Yugi to light his cigarette before he blasts him away, which Dark Yugi does. He then rests the lighter on the convict's hand, a hand that is currently pouring vodka into a glass. Dark Yugi taunts the convict that if he fires, the recoil will cause the lighter to drop, hitting the vodka and setting the convict ablaze. The convict is stunned, and the lit cigarette falls from his mouth, igniting the puddle of vodka anyway and burning him. This game was wild enough to be censored in the Toei version of the anime, where the fire that engulfs the convict is instead an illusion. Coming in at number 4, the Electric Chair Ride of Death. Honestly, I think the name pretty much sums up how dangerous it is. The craziest thing about this game is that while it is a part of Death T, it's not even its own level. It's literally just a ride between levels 1 and 2. The way it works is that every person takes a seat in a literal electric chair. You know, the kind that is used to fry criminals on death row. These chairs are sound activated, meaning if the person sitting in it makes a peep, they will be fried to death. If that's not dangerous enough, the whole ride is a haunted roller coaster with scary visuals in the dark and hands emerging from the chairs to try and coerce the riders into screaming. So how does our team win the game? By having the baby poop on the guide, of course, why didn't anyone think of that sooner? This little incident causes the guide to scream and be fried himself. Coming in at number 3, Clock Solitaire. This is a game that takes place when Yugi and Taya go out on a date to an amusement park. Taya the whole time is hoping for Dark Yugi to surface, but unfortunately for her, the only way that happens is when a bomb threat to the Ferris wheel appears, a wheel that Taya is currently sitting in. The way the game works is that Dark Yugi has to keep flipping over cards from a deck and stacking them on their appropriate spot such that each number corresponds to its equivalent hour on a clock. Once 4 of the same number have been stacked, the bomber detonates that car on the Ferris wheel. Taya is sitting in car 3, and by the time Dark Yugi catches on to the rules, 3 threes have already been flipped. Dark Yugi realizes that the only way to win the game is to flip over all 4 kings first. King, equivalent to 13, a number that doesn't fall on a clock, goes in the middle of the wheel instead, and upon getting all 4, Taya is released. Dark Yugi also points out that it is in car 13 of the wheel that the bomber is hiding. The danger with this game, of course, is it's totally luck reliant, forcing Dark Yugi to rely on the cards rather than any strategy. But I suppose him top-decking the King of Hearts for the win was an unintended foreshadow for all the heart of the cards mumbo-jumbo to take place later in the story. The Toei anime version of this game did actually have a puzzle for Yugi to work out and needing to determine what color balloon corresponded with what car number, but it is the randomness of the manga version that lands it at number 3 on this list. Coming in at number 2, Stardust Shootout. This is level 1 of Death T, where Yugi, Tristan, and Joey are in a laser tag bout with another team of 3. Only thing is, our heroes have toy guns, while the other team has real lasers that will shock the heroes with 1,000,000 volts. Oh, by the way, the other team is comprised of a former commander with a specialty in guerrilla warfare, an American SWAT team leader with a specialty in long-distance sniping, and an assassin who's a complete mystery except the fact that 0% of his targets are still living. Fortunately, Tristan and his baby nephew are somehow smarter than these 3 professionals. Yeah, that's right. Tristan used to do things once upon a time. With his sharp shooting skills, the gang wins and moves on to level 2. And that brings us to the most dangerous game in the original manga, Death T Level 2, Murderer's Mansion. With a name like that, it's probably no shock that it lands at the top of the list of most dangerous games. This game has 2 components to it. First, Kaiba instructs the friend group to put their hand through 4 holes in the wall in order to find the exit to the mansion. They each hold a lever, but only one of them will free them from the trap. The other 3 will cause the guillotine above them to fall and chop off their hands, a fate that will also occur if the group doesn't make a move in 5 minutes. Yugi is able to decipher the clue he found earlier and conclude that it is Taya's lever that will free them, but that also ends up freeing a mystery figure hidden in the basement of the mansion who takes Tristan's nephew as a hostage. Kaiba reveals that this is the chainsaw serial killer responsible for chopping up 10 Boy Scouts into mincemeat. Somehow, Kaiba got a hold of this lunatic before the cops could, but instead of using that detection for justice, turns him into a pawn at Death T. Okay, seriously, what is wrong with this dude? Anyway, the second phase of the game requires defeating the Chop Man in a cage match, where at the start, each person picks a weapon of their choice and fights to the death. I don't know about you, but fighting a serial killer with a chainsaw wasn't on my list of after-school activities, but Joey toughs it out and with Yugi's help, devises a way to get the Chop Man to open the door and set the ground ablaze, burning the serial killer into a crisp and allowing the friends to overcome the most dangerous game ever played in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's my list of the 10 most dangerous games from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. As you can surmise, the vibe of the pre-Duel Monsters days was far crazier, with lethal games galore, but the ability to overcome all those obstacles is exactly why Yugi is the king of games. But you tell me, which of these games would you be willing to play if your life was on the line? Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and manga content like this. Don't worry, the only danger here is nerding out over card games.